Hey guys, it's Chala from Crafting Through the Chaos of Life. Thanks so much for joining me for another video. I am back today to show you guys how I am going to play around with these different papers to make my own art papers. So kind of like collage papers or Tim Holtz papers. I just wanted to create some different pieces to use in collage as well as pages in my journals, and I didn't want to spend money on art paper because, as you know, I am not spending money this year on craft supplies, and I kind of want to do more of a true junk journal recycling theme, really, or just kind of get into that more. I find that I've become too consumerist, if that makes sense, if that's the word that I want to use. I do want to start using everything that I have in my stash. Like I said, I have a ton of stuff that I need to use because I have like hundreds, if not thousands, oh, I know thousands, invested in my art stuff, and I just keep collecting, and I should not have a museum of art supplies. I need to use them. So long story short, let's create some fun things. What I have here is just some general book paper, just a book page, an old book page. I have a glossier page from a gardening book, big gardening book. I have some copy paper in which I'm sure we've all experienced this. Our printer has all of a sudden decided it wants to speak a different language and printed it out. So a lot of times I'll grab papers from work that print out like this. I don't take any papers that have client names or anything on it like that. I can't do that because of privacy issues. But, you know, papers like this where, you know, our printer decided to go rogue, I will grab those and reuse them. This is kind of like a very thin, it's like Bible page. This is from a religious book. I liked the thinness of this. It's like that onion paper, a little bit thicker. I have some music sheet. I have some tracing paper. I have some jelly paper that I got off of Amazon. I got a big stack of it, and so I need to use it. And I also have just some regular parchment paper. And one of the reasons why I have this out as well is if I do watercoloring so I don't get water all over the place. I also have, I'm very lucky, I have a heat press because I also like to make t-shirts and all that sort of things. And what I do is I actually take my papers and I turn my heat press on and I press them in my heat press to flatten them out and dry them. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to play around with this. I think the best thing for me to do is I am just going to give myself grace to just play and not talk through things. And then what I might do is just have some music playing over it and maybe do a voiceover as needed. Sometimes I find I am stunting my creativity by trying to explain what I'm doing. So I think maybe I will just let myself get immersed in this. And sorry if you can hear the running water. That's just kind of how my setup is. But I'm going to let myself get immersed in this process. And yeah, I'll speed up things as we go along, and then you can see how it ends up. I'll slow things down at the end and then talk through what I need to. So, all right, let's get started. I am going to now just kind of pause things, get set up, and then I'll restart and we will play along. guys, so I have had a lot of fun playing around, as you could see. So this is the watercolors just on some music paper. I think this is a lot of fun. That creates a beautiful look on the background of just this plain music paper. And then from here you can do anything. You can rip it up and use it for ephemera. You can fold it into a pocket. You can, or an envelope, sorry. Do many different things. So I'm just going to quickly flip through and show you what you made, and then through the magic of video I'll show you how I use these. Okay, so this one again I am really happy with. You can definitely see the sparkle in some of those iridescent paints. A lot of fun. I think that looks cool, very spring-like, loving that. This is my painty papers. So I was using the gel plate with some acrylic paints and just kind of, you know, mushing them around. So definitely a fun mixed media thing to do. I did this on the glossy paper. So this is from a book that has glossier pages, and that worked out really well just to kind of dull it down a bit. And then what you can do I have one here? So yeah, this one I just put gesso all over the gel plate, and then I laid the piece of paper down and then pulled it up. So I smoothed it down, as you saw, pulled it up, and then it left me with this. So from here I can do stamping on it. I can do whatever I want on it. I can leave it like this as a writing page, so you kind of see the background on it, but you can definitely write on this. I wouldn't stamp on this glossy side because your inks are gonna smudge and blur, so that's why I did the gesso. So now it's got some tooth on that paper so that you can stamp or do whatever you like on that. So this is kind of, you know, just a way to figure out how to use these glossier papers. That was a long way to say that. So again, yeah, with this I can stamp on it. I can add more gel plate printing. This was my roll-off, wipe-off sheet. Again, I will use these. You can use them as pages in a book, for collage. Yeah, lots you can do with these papers. I then, as you saw, had some fun with book page. This is going to go into my rose journal. So you're like me, I'm sure that you have a ton of stamps, because if you've done card making before, I just pulled out some of my card making stamps. This is a beautiful layered rose stamp. I just used my distress inks on this, and yeah, just, you know, did an image over top. So on the back I just did a layer of gesso, smooth white gesso, so the person can use this side to write on. So this is actually going to go into, and pull it out here, this rose journal that I have been working on. I think that is going to look really cool. Maybe as a page, say, right, you know, we could put it there. I'll poke some holes in there. Yeah, I just think that's going to be a really kind of fun addition to this journal. So that's my plan for this one. So again, pull out if you were a previous card maker or still are a card maker, pull those supplies out. We definitely can use those, guys. We are actually really lucky. So you saw me do this. So this was just the distress inks that I used with the blending brush. I kind of hope that this would have stood out more with I used some black ink and clear embossing powder. It didn't show up as well as I wanted. I'm still going to use this. I'll rip it up and use it as collage, but I like the background with the distress inks. It's just this didn't turn out as well as I hoped. So I decided to retry it again. Now this is the piece that we used the distress oxide inks and kind of watercolored on. And I tried it again, and it definitely stood out better on the oxides, because the oxides again will leave that kind of chalky feel and look over top, where the distress inks themselves are brighter. These are more muted and more chalky. So then of course whatever you stamp on top is going to stand out a bit more. And I think this one didn't work out because there's a lot going on in the stamp. Maybe if I used a more simpler stamp, like maybe some of the images I used on my other stuff, it might work out better. But I also decided to try it as well with some gold embossing powder as well. So definitely pull out your card making supplies, and we can use it to make fun backgrounds. Again, I'll probably just rip this up and use it for collage, or, you know, make a pocket out of it. I don't know. We'll figure something out to use for it for sure. Then here's, you know, kind of what we started with. I really like how this one turned out. I think that is super cool and fun. I love the light colors on it. Again, you can't tell really that it was a book page, just because of everything that's going on. But what you want is some, you know, a script stamp and some bolder images, and that definitely brings it together. Usually start with your bigger images and then fill in with your smaller ones. You know, I kind of went overboard on some of these. Again, I was just playing and having fun. This one was just that piece of paper from my printer that went all wonky. And again, I use that as well on painty papers. I'll show you that in a minute. But again, just pulled out a whole bunch of stamps. This one, I had the stamp the wrong way. That's okay. We can still use this. I can, you know, rip out the word kind and have it on a page. Yeah, again, just great little collage papers. You know, use it as a page. All is good. So pull out those stamps, you guys. This one was that Bible page, or that religious book page, so thinner kind of onion skin type paper. And again, I stamped all over it, used some bolder stamps, some word stamps. You know, I'm not 100% pleased with this one, but that's okay. Again, I'm going to rip it up and use it for collage. Then I spattered some iridescent watercolor over top, so splatter some stuff on there. I use that funky brush. I really like using this one. Again, it like leaves, I don't know if you can see that, sometimes it leaves really cool impressions. It looks like eyelashes to me, but I don't know why this is all sticky, but anyways, yeah, so that was fun. Definitely use that in bits and pieces. This one, actually, I'm going to step back here for a second. So for these three in particular, I recommend, because they are smoother surfaced papers. So this is the tracing paper, the deli paper, the kind of onion skin religious book paper, and I didn't do the parchment, but because it's going to be the same thing, but use StazOn ink. I found that while I love this VersaFine Clair ink, it smudges, and I knew that. You see that? It's smudging on my hands, and I knew that, and I should have known better. But use use StazOn ink for smoother surfaced papers, because then it'll set and it won't smudge. So I knew that. I don't know what I was thinking. Yeah, whatever. So now you know. Don't do as I do on that one. This one again is like really busy. Again, I'm not 100% thrilled with it, but again, I was just playing to see what I could come up with, and I'm still going to use these guys. I'm not throwing it away. It's going to be fun to use. I really like this one. I think this one is cool. Looking forward to using this again. See if I can find a clean finger. This one isn't, well, no, it's still smudging. It's still smudging. So yeah, use StazOn. But again, numbers and, you know, botanical stamps, pull out what you have. This is cool. I'm going to have fun with that. And this is one of my sons, actually. He did the painty papers for me, or the gel printing, and his turned out better than mine. He got some really cool texture in there. I like the colors. You can stamp on top of this. You can use it as is. You can use it for collage, make a page out of it. So yeah, definitely a lot of fun that we had here making our papers. So with the magic of video, I'm going to show you now how I use these. Okay guys, so I have finished all of this ephemera, and I still have plenty of papers left over to do a ton more, but let's step you through with what I ended up creating with these art papers. Let's start. I think this was the first thing I created. So I used just some junk mail packaging. I tried to use all recycled materials, and I created this cute little tag. So you can see that I have the art paper here in the background. I've got some labels, some Tim Holtz people, a number, different papers, some washi tape, and yeah, I just created a really quick tag. I will back it with coffee dyed paper so that you can write on the back of it, but yeah, so that's something that you can do with those papers for sure. I ended up creating a large master board where I ended up with a lot of different pieces. I'm just trying to think here. So this was, I think these pieces, yeah, these pieces are all from the same piece of junk mail. Again, I'm going to back these with coffee dyed paper, except for this one. So this is a pocket that I created, and I just used a little transparent paper kind of cluster strip that I've made in the past. Maybe I'll make those again. Yeah, just creating some fun things. So I've got a pocket. This is another little pocket, and it's got a leftover piece from that faux metal that I did. And I just put a flower on top. Again, some washi tape, just some scrap papers. This is actually some of the gel print paper. Sorry, words are hard to come by right now. The gel print paper in the background there that we did. And this is actually a little tuck pocket right here so that you can tuck something in there. So I just thought that was super cute. Then I have this little journal card. Again, this is just some collage papers that I did using that same piece of junk mail. Sorry, I'm having trouble forming my words right now. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to show you is I did create a large master board with all the different art papers. You can see there, that's some of it there. And collaged with papers that I had. So this is just a journaling card. Again, here I used some of the art paper there in a collage. So that's 2 journaling cards. Here is another piece of the scrap paper. This is going to likely be a side tuck. I might put a little thumb hole in there. I'm not sure. It might need a focal point. I think if I put the thumb notch in there that I won't need that. But yeah, this is going to be a little side tuck, and you can see there that's that religious paper that I stamped on. I think that looks really cool. Again, another little pocket that I created out of that same junk mail, sorry guys. And again, I have some of the art paper in here. So yeah, just creating a big master board. Here is a bigger piece of that. This is going to be a belly band. So you can see here I've got that gorgeous art paper that I use, some other papers, a label, and that just creates a bit of a focal point for this. And this is just from that collage masterboard that I created. I have scanned my collage masterboard, and I will put that up. Actually, I'm probably going to put that up on my Coffee page. Is it Coffee or Ko-Fi? I don't know. Anyways, and I'll link that down below for sure, so you guys can get that collage paper masterboard that I created for free by going over to my Coffee site. Okay, so then I have these cute little folios. So as you can see, I've used some of that art paper. I've put in some tickets and some Tim Holtz people, and then it just creates this cute little folio. This is actually the same layout as my matchbook papers. I just, instead of having blank papers inside, I created a little journal, mini journal folio. So I have a cute little pocket here with some pieces of ephemera. Same thing on the back. And I did, this is actually a brad, a really cool brad as the tie. And then I just covered it with some, the back of it with some scrap paper. And then I just used leftover small bits of paper that I had on hand to create this cute little writing space here that I sewed in with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So there's lots of things that you can use these art papers for sure. Again, I put a little gem on the bottom of this. Here's another one I did. This is from the master board as well. So I just have, I have a stash of these hair ties actually from the dollar store that I like to use as closures for these little mini folios. And I just put on a little gem or little charm on the bottom here, butterfly. And so this one just simply opens up. Same kind of thing though. I didn't put any paper in. I just have these cute little pockets with some interesting little pieces. I kind of had a story going that this was Aunt Mildred. This is Aunt Mildred here, and she went, this is a little ticket, so she went to the Lyric Theater, and this is just kind of a story about her trip to New York. And when she was there, she, went on a bus ride maybe and kept that. There's a little tag that I made out of that art paper. And then I also decided that she was visiting family while she was in New York, and this is her family. And then another little ticket here. So yeah, just a really fun piece. And then I did a stencil on the background of that just to add a little bit more interest to that and kind of tie it into the papers that I used. And I thought it worked really well. So yeah, definitely, you know, use your imagination to build a story about this piece of ephemera. It gives it a little bit more personality when you kind of, you know, want to tell a story. So this is the full, not the full, but part of the master board that I created, but it just is really cool. I think it looks really neat. So yeah, so there is that piece, and that just simply closes with this super cute little closure and butterfly. So there's was it Aunt Mildred? That's Aunt Mildred's little story about going to New York. All right, moving on. This is that piece of music paper that I used with the iridescent watercolors. You can see that. I just turned this into a little, I cut it down and made a little envelope with my envelope punch. I have some just little pieces for my rose journal ephemera that I put on there. Some doilies, some fabrics, some gems, and then this is a piece from that one art paper that we made. So, creating envelopes, really cute. This is going to tuck into a journal and be super cute for someone to find. I'll probably put maybe some coffee dyed paper in here that they can write a few little things for them to find, some interesting bits. Okay, then I created these out of one piece of paper. One piece of paper. One or two, anyways, book pages. I think there's 2 book pages here. So I started off by stamping. So this is just regular stamping on that distressed oxide kind of watercolored piece. And at first I didn't really like it. I was like, oh, I don't think it stands out enough. But as I work with it, it is actually really beautiful and I absolutely love it. And same thing with these papers. I had mentioned that I wasn't really in love with these papers, but once you tear them up and use them in a collage, they turn out fantastic. I will let you know on the vellum and the deli papers, I did use a Mod Podge satin setting spray because I didn't use the proper inks. I should have used StazOn. I didn't, and so when I touched them, they had the ink was coming off and kind of smearing. So I just used that in a well-ventilated area. Please remember to do that. And I just sprayed over top and let it set. And now you can touch it, and it's not going to come off on your fingers. So if you happen to use the wrong ink like me, you can fix it. Actually, you can also, if you don't have like that clear spray, go ahead and use your hairspray, guys. Aerosol hairspray works just as well. So again, use what you have. We're not buying anything this year. Okay, so again, with these, I did that beautiful stamp, and then I tried, so this is the black stamping with clear embossing. And the ink that I used was the Memento ink. And it's not as embossed as I'd like it to be. So there is some shine to it. Just from, actually, no, I lied. How did I do this? No, I did, I did do the black ink and the clear embossing powder, sorry. And so that's what this shine is from some of that clear embossing powder that didn't get wiped away because the paper was still a bit wet from the actual watercoloring process. So you want to make sure your papers are really dry, otherwise you're going to get a full shiny bit from that clear embossing paper. Hope that makes sense. Again, I created another little envelope out of this. Love it, love it. Yeah, it turned out really well. Again, when I did it in the beginning, I'm like, oh, that doesn't look really good. But once you put it into something, make it into something, it's really great. Here I did the embossing again. This I did I do the same thing? This has more texture. I think I used a different ink. I think I used the Versa Claire ink on this one. So again, it's got that shine to it. I used the This one I dried more, so it's definitely just the stamped image itself that's embossed. And I turned this one into a journal card. This is just some packaging, leftover packaging, like from a food box or something. Again, you don't have to buy cardstock, you guys. Reuse and recycle your food packaging. And yeah, cute little journal card that you can write on. I love the colors in the background, and the birds stand out a lot more than I thought they did in the beginning. So super cute. This one I wasn't so sure about, but I am totally in love with now. I really like this one. This is with Versa Mark ink, so that's the watermark ink, the clear ink pad, and then I use some gold embossing powder, and it's so pretty. Look at that. I really love that. So this I just made into a pocket. Okay, we have 2 pieces left. So this is, again, the art paper I just collaged onto a coffee dyed CD envelope. So that will be really cute. I kind of picture this going into a journal, maybe with some washi tape so that you can flip it open and then pull out what you want. Or you could just tuck it into a pocket with something inside. When I created this, I also created another one for my rose journal, and look at how pretty this is. So I actually, when I coffee dyed, or I think this was tea dye actually, when I tea dyed this one, I sprayed it all down, and then I got it really wet, and then I peeled apart the envelope itself so that I could open it right flat. And then I took out this acetate piece, and I printed an image from the digital set that I'm using. Again, I purchased that before the new year, and I just cut it out, and so that's on vellum. And I just think that looks so super pretty. So this wasn't actually part of the collage papers or art papers I used, but just wanted to quickly share another idea with you. I think that looks so cool. Okay, so yeah, there's another one. You can definitely just do some collaging around a CD envelope and use it like that. The last one I'm sharing with you is the gel print papers. So this was on that shiny garden book page, and I just did some jelly printing with it, and I really like the colors that I got. Again, my son did some jelly printing with me, and you know, these are endless. Like, he did that. Isn't that gorgeous? That's going to be so great. This was my roll-off sheet. This is another one. These are all the ones that my son did. He did a beautiful job. I can definitely use these. Look at that one. Isn't that so cool? That one's gorgeous. So definitely, yeah, there's something about involving your kids in this process, because kids just naturally have an eye for art. And the things that they create are quite amazing, and we can use them in our projects. So yeah, I like to employ my kids too. When they're down here hanging out with me, I'm like, okay, you can hang out with me, but you have to craft. So they make things for me. This is, again, just simple, really, really simple. The jelly printed paper, and then I just put some kind of bold floral stamps on there, and then this will form a page in one of my journals. And then the nice thing is you have this great piece here, so you could actually write on it with a marker if you wanted to. You could add some different things on there, or the person who gets the journal can do that. But then again, when you open this part, even though this is glossy on the inside, this is where you can put your full page items, like a big pocket, a belly band. Oh, where's our belly band? I can find, well, here's like a side tack. You can add a side tack to a plain page like that. Yeah, you know, we've got all these things that I can't find that I want. Yeah, so add a pocket, or this is a little big for this page, but you know, a belly band, and then that kind of covers that, you know, just kind of blank page. Again, you could also cover this with coffee dyed paper. You could do a layer of gesso so someone can write on it, but again, you can create pages, full pages out of these art pages that we make, right? So lots and lots and lots of ideas here, guys, for you to play with. I hope that you enjoyed today's video and you feel inspired to create your own art papers. Save your money. As much as we love Tim Holtz and, you know, our rice papers and, you know, all those name brand stuff, try to keep your money in your pocket. I mean, right? We wanna be able to use the stuff that we have on hand to create these beautiful things. We want to make sure that we're not consumerist in our junk journaling. It's fine, you know, from time to time, but the whole process of junk journaling is being able to use what you have on hand. And that's really my goal this year, not buying anything and using what I have. And look at this amazing array of ephemera that I've created. And again, this is just the tip of the iceberg for me. I still have a ton of papers left over that I can use to create more things. So yeah, it's a great way to fill up your ephemera stash. So thanks again, guys, for joining me today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I want to know how you guys are doing, what your favorite piece was, and I will see you in the next video. P.S. I love you.